kissed another man while my husband was rocking our sick daughter to sleep. And he still doesn't know. I used to think you couldn't destroy something without realizing it. That you'd feel it happening. Feel something cracking inside you. But I didn't. I didn't feel the fracture the night it started. I felt wanted. That was the worst part. James and I were high school sweethearts. He wasn't the first guy who liked me, but he was the first who made me feel safe, solid. I came from a loud family. Divorces, affairs, fights at Christmas. James was the opposite. Thoughtful, quiet, gentle. His world was calm, and when he let me into it, I felt like I could breathe for the first time. He didn't sweep me off my feet. He held my hand and walked me through life with steady steps. He proposed at the little Italian restaurant we always went to. The same table where we had our first date. The ring wasn't huge, but it was perfect. I cried. He was shaking when he asked. That's the kind of man he is. He'd already made a life plan for both of us, but still worried I might say no. I didn't say no. We got married in spring. We bought a little blue house with peeling paint and wildflowers in the yard. We painted it ourselves. James played music while we worked, always stopping to dance with me in the middle of the chaos. He made me laugh even when I was frustrated. He made everything easier. When I got pregnant with Lily, he cried more than I did. And then Ethan came 2 years later, and suddenly we weren't just a couple anymore. We were a team. Exhausted, messy, late for everything, but so in love with our little family that nothing else mattered. But slowly, something in me changed. It wasn't James. He was still the same man, packing lunches, brushing Lily's hair into messy ponytails, carrying a sleeping Ethan upstairs after long car rides. He never once made me feel small or unimportant. But I started to feel invisible anyway. Not because of him, because of me. I wasn't 23 anymore. I wasn't flirted with in line at the grocery store. I wasn't the girl in heels and lipstick. I was the woman in sweats with spit up on her shoulder. I loved my kids. I loved our life. But I missed being seen. I missed feeling desired. And then Damien walked in. He was a speaker at one of the charity events I helped organize. Tall, confident, charismatic. He spoke like he was daring the room to interrupt him. And when he talked to me after, it felt like I was the only woman in the world. He made a joke about my clipboard being my scepter of control, and I laughed too hard. He smirked like he knew exactly what he was doing. I told myself it was nothing, just a compliment, just charm. Then came the email, just a thank you for the well-run event. Then a few lines more, a joke, a comment about my smile. I responded, and it snowballed. Texting became normal, little jokes throughout the day, messages about nothing that made me feel alive. I told myself James wouldn't care. It wasn't cheating. It was just friendly. But I stopped telling James about my day. I started locking my phone. When Damien asked to grab coffee, I said yes too fast. We met, accidentally, near his office. He paid. He said I was too beautiful to be as humble as I pretend to be. I blushed. I told him I was married. He smiled. Lucky man. Then he looked at me for a little too long, and I didn't look away. The first kiss happened in the parking lot. I told myself I didn't plan it, but I wore perfume James said gave him headaches. I'd checked my lipstick 4 times. I wanted to feel something, and I did. Guilt didn't come until later. Shame, even later than that. But in that moment, all I felt was wanted. It didn't stop at one kiss. I kept meeting him, kept lying, kept making up excuses for why I needed extra hours at work, or why I was helping a friend plan a baby shower. James never suspected a thing. He trusted me completely. Damien was electric. Touching him felt dangerous and alive. He said things James never said, compliments soaked in suggestion, not sincerity. I knew it wasn't love. I knew it was selfish. But I craved it like a drug. I started needing it. James was still good. Still the same man. And that only made it worse. One night Lily got sick, feverish and crying. James held her for hours while I was in Damien's hotel room. I came home to find James pacing, singing softly to her, his eyes red from exhaustion. He looked at me and smiled. "She's okay now," he whispered, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I showered that night with the water scalding hot. I scrubbed my skin until it hurt. But the guilt didn't wash off. I crawled into bed beside James and lay there, wide-eyed, while he snored softly. I thought, I should tell him. He deserves to know. But then I pictured his face when I said the words. I pictured Ethan asking why Daddy was crying, and I stayed silent. But something shifted after that night. I started to feel something sour in my gut every time I texted Damien. He was colder, less attentive. He stopped calling, started canceling. Asked if something was wrong. He said he was just busy. I told him I missed him. He sent back a thumbs-up emoji. When I asked if we could meet, he replied, "Why?" "It's not going anywhere." I froze. I stared at that message for an hour. I asked, "What do you mean?" He replied, "You knew what this was. Don't be dramatic." I felt like I'd been slapped. I wasn't even angry at him. I was angry at myself for thinking I mattered. I tried to call. He didn't answer. The next week, I saw a photo of him on social media, smiling with some young brunette at a rooftop bar, his hand on her waist, her lipstick smeared on his cheek. I stared at that picture until my eyes burned. He looked happy, and I felt like trash. I started crying in the bathroom at night. James noticed. He asked if I was okay. I said I was just tired. He brought me tea and kissed my forehead. He had no idea I was mourning a man who never even cared about me. Truth is, I don't know why I was upset. I don't know if I was planning to leave my husband for Damien. Part of me always knew the type of man he was. I guess I just felt used. I saw it coming, but it still hurt. And the worst part? I threw away what loyalty I had for James over something as cheap as that. I felt lost, defeated. I didn't eat for days. I felt sick all the time. Not because I missed Damien, but because I hated the woman I'd become. I started remembering everything James had done for me. How he worked summers so I could stay home with the kids. How he never complained about money, or long nights, or missed date nights. How he always brought me flowers on Wednesdays, for no reason. How he loved me when I didn't deserve it. And I betrayed him for a man who treated me like a secret he didn't want anymore. I thought about telling James, about confessing everything, and begging for his forgiveness. But I couldn't. Not because I didn't want to. I did. God, I did. But because I looked at our kids and realized I couldn't destroy their lives just to unburden myself. So I stayed quiet. I deleted every message, every photo. I blocked Damien's number, not that he'd call anyway. But it's not over. Not really. Every morning I wake up and wonder if today's the day James finds out. Every time he grabs my phone to take a photo of the kids, I flinch. Every compliment he gives me feels like poison. Every "I love you" is a dagger in my chest. And I still see Damien sometimes. Not in person, just online. Laughing in videos, dancing with women, living like nothing happened. I want to hate him. But mostly I hate myself for ever wanting him to stay. I wanted to fight for him. I begged him not to walk away. And now that he has, all I can think is, what kind of person fights to keep the man she cheated with, and lies to the one who never stopped loving her? Sometimes I wonder if James sees through me. Sometimes I think he knows, that he's just waiting for me to admit it. And other times, I realize the truth. He doesn't know. He still trusts me. He still thinks I'm the woman he married. And that hurts more than anything. Because I'm not. I'm a woman who kissed another man while her husband rocked their sick daughter to sleep. A woman who gave herself to someone who saw her as disposable. A woman who broke something sacred and doesn't know how to fix it. And now, every night, I crawl into bed beside the man I betrayed, and I pretend. I pretend to be whole. I pretend to be faithful. I pretend I'm not terrified of the day the truth comes out. But the truth is, there's no version of this where I don't lose everything. Because the second James finds out, I won't fight to stay. I'll leave. Not because I don't love him, but because I do, and because I know he deserves someone who never made him doubt that he was enough. And I'll never be that woman again.